Tonight, Bill, can you?
You are listening to the Doug Stanhope Podcast.
The potato peelings in the sink did not turn into vodka as I had hoped. I only start to need a drink after the liquor stores have closed. I heard you changed your name again, but don't you change your hair. It was the only thing I liked about you in the end. La la la.
This is the Doug Stanhope Podcast, and we're doing this from Grass Valley, California, on an off night with Bingo and Bingo's mom at Bingo's mom's house. Bingo's mom, who just made homemade ice cream, mint chocolate chip after a delicious dinner as the sun sets, telling horrible stories about Bingo, showing Bingo's mother all the vines that we've made of us torturing her with fake bugs. And Andy Andrist in the background, who I'm sure chime in at some point. And Ggreg Chaille on the controls. And thanks for dinner, Ma. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
No matter what you say you're making, I just go, yeah, I like that. But I did. And I'm always, it's always nice. We're going to get into Bingo crazy stories. First of all, how awful is your daughter that she didn't even tell you that she was in Harper's Magazine?
I don't know. I never heard that story.
Yeah, it just came out like last month, 2 months ago. It was the May issue. So, yeah, it came out in late April. That's a huge story.
About my daughter.
About us, yeah, on the road.
You.
But it's about her as much as me. And I asked Ron, your husband, I go, did you send you a copy of the Harpers? What
No.
Harpers? Like, you're a terrible person.
They don't read Harper's. So
What do you mean they don't read Harper's? They don't read Harper's because you're not in it. And when you are in it, you should probably tell your folks.
Okay.
It's the only
send you a
good
copy,
thing.
Ma.
I hope so.
Okay.
The only thing I miss about, well, not the only thing I miss, but one of the biggest thing I miss about my parents not being alive is I have no one to brag to anymore. And you're just talking to your peers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, rub it in my face." And Kelly, your daughter, is the favorite podcast we ever did was In Bed with Her, the Pillow Talk podcast.
You were in bed with my daughter? My other
Yeah.
daughter?
Yeah, that's what the whole joke was, because Bingo wasn't there.
Oh,
She
okay.
came to see us on the road in Montana, and I go, let's do this from bed to make your sister uncomfortable. And we'll make you listen to that at some point, but not now. You took care of Bingo. When Bingo was Bingo and I met, for those of you who don't know, we met after a show in Portland, Oregon, when I was on the road, like a comic and a lady in the audience often meet. Like the same way you met Sinatra once at Tahoe. Just kidding.
Yeah, right.
And then Bingo went crazy. She went to the Looney bin, and you had to deal with this problem. This is what, a dozen years ago?
Oh,
When did you go to the
I got locked up for the big time for a few months in 04
in Wyoming?
in Wyoming.
And so, and at that point, you're living in Wyoming. So when you get out, Ma's going to take care of the problem.
They wouldn't release me from the hospital unless I went home with my parents as an adult person.
Actually, I thought I was going up there just to visit you.
The old bait and switch.
Nah, she finally had said, I wanted to go up sooner, but she didn't want me to come up. And so I went up and I stayed there for about 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
And the doctor said she would release her. But they were kind of getting the meds, sort of.
Sort of, which
Under
was not
control.
even close.
Yeah,
Mom
not
was
really close, but it
Terrified
was
to take
better.
Yeah, and they don't want to keep paying for it, so they're going, yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
She still, barks at the moon, but she's fine. So you got stuck with, honestly, how much trepidation did you have going, oh, shit, she's 18. Isn't this someone else's problem now?
18. No, she was 27.
But I'm saying she's over
Oh, yes,
18
yes. Well, it's the scariest thing I ever did.
because you had to take her home. You were living in Tahoe at the time. You had the place in Tahoe.
We had the place in Tahoe. Actually, I was going to take her to California, but then we decided it would be better to have her in Tahoe. It's a lot more laid back.
Yeah, a lot more remote.
Yeah.
A
So
lot fewer problems.
yeah. So anyway, on the way home, she would get a little spooked at, she would see things that weren't there. And sometimes when, those big balloon-like people that they have air going in periodically.
Oh, the wiggly arm guy?
Yeah, the wiggly arm guy. Yeah, that really freaked her out when we passed one of those.
Did you tell her it wasn't really there?
Oh. But then, the very first day she was home, full day.
Is this the bear story?
This is the bear story.
Okay,
I
we're
decided we should go for a walk because she'd been cooped up for
Right.
2 months.
Cooped up is a great way to
Well,
minimalize
locked up.
a horrific mental institution. You've been so cooped up. Stretch your legs. So you go out in Tahoe,
So we take a walk and we get ready.
which is kind of a big step for her. Like
Oh,
just
yeah,
going out in public,
Yes.
just for a walk is
Yes. Scary, probably.
yeah.
So anyway, we were coming up to a house, and I told her, I said, now don't worry. I said, these people have a big black dog, so don't think it's a bear. So we get closer to the house. The garage door is open.
And I'm skittish
And-
about everything
Yes,
at this
she's
point.
skittish.
I freak out about everything.
So what comes out of the garage but a real bear? And yeah, and a couple of days
A little
later.
bit of an-
What? How did she
Maybe.
react? How did she freak
Well,
out?
No, actually, she didn't do.
Did
too
you
well.
Did you freak out? Going, oh, this is not a dog, honey. Don't pet the dog.
I just told her to get behind me, but I don't know. It was a few weeks later, or a few days later, when she was feeling a little bit better. She told me, she said, "Mom, it's not nice to mess with mentally ill."
She was that happened to me the first time I did acid, where I had enough people that told me that, all right, this is how it's going to go. Don't panic at any point. You're going to feel like this and what have you. And I had a great night. And at one point we were outside smoking cigarettes, and I was looking at the lawn, and every blade of grass looked like it was moving like an earthworm. And I go, I know it's not a sea of earthworms, but it looks so cool because it looks like that. And just to make sure, I got down on the sidewalk to look at one specific blade of grass that seemed to be wiggling, and that happened to be an earthworm. So there was a fraction of a second where I'm going, oh my God, like this is definitely an earthworm. Maybe there's a whole lawn of, and then I just, coincidence. Got it. Good ride. I'm sorry. Every time you come to my show, every time I play in Sacramento, I always feel worse because I'm like, wow, I don't have any new stuff to make fun of her parents about.
Well, you seem to come up with something every time.
I do, but I really have to stretch myself.
Well, the first one was the best.
The first time, do you remember the story? Oh, by the way, the closer that is to your face, the better the audio is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like that. If it's almost touching your chin, it's perfect.
Okay.
The first time was at the Purple Onion.
Yes, in San Francisco.
And
Yes.
we had been up all night, or quite a bit of the night before, and we were doing some cocaine. And then we're going to meet you the next day. For the first time, I'm going to meet the parents. And the Purple Onion seats like 60 people or something.
It's
It's
so
tiny.
small.
You can see everyone. And I don't know how I said it. I probably made. I brought up the fact that I'm meeting you for the first time.
Well, what you said was, you're in for a good show tonight. It's meet the in-laws night.
Yeah, so I brought up the fact.
And of course, everybody, and you pointed us out.
Yeah.
So every time you got really dirty, everybody turned their head and looked at us.
That's it. That's what people.
But I had told you, I was just like, stand up, just don't bring that up. The first thing you
don't bring up the cocaine.
Yeah,
just
the first
don't.
thing you
My
bring
parents.
up, and then because Dad was a pharmacist, and you turned to him and you're like, but don't worry, Dad.
I said, yeah, we were up all night doing cocaine, but don't worry, Dad. It was really good cocaine.
Yes, that's right.
It's really good coke. Good blow.
But Ma said tonight at dinner, she said, I don't know if you're getting less offensive or if I'm just getting more used to it because I cringe a lot less. But I can't offend my mother-in-law, de facto. Go.
They had a story of the first time, what was it, you and Brooke went up to the hotel room?
Oh,
Why don't you
well,
tell that?
I
In
hadn't
Vegas?
met
Was
him.
that Vegas?
Oh, it probably was Vegas for her 30th birthday. And
Yeah.
you knew we were coming
Of course.
up.
Of course I did.
And you had taken a shower and you left yourself naked, answering the door like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you guys.
I didn't give you a big hug?
No, you did. You gave
You
her a big,
did.
wet,
Big, wet, naked hug? I just wanted you to feel at home. Do you have any idea how many opening acts have been tortured by your daughter's constant nakedness where I don't even notice? It's like her blue hair. You just stop noticing. She just always is naked in the hotel room. And the openers who come over or comics passing through town stop by, and she's just walking through butt naked.
I get it from Dad.
And I don't even notice.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Your dad does
My
that?
Dad does it all the time. I get it from Dad.
Well, all of my kids' friends knew that if they came home with any of the girls, you had to open the door and holler and say, Ron, do you have your clothes on? Before they came in the house.
And you wonder why she went batshit crazy. Ron's a lovable man, but I wouldn't want to see him walking around naked. All right, bingo crazy stories. I got a list here. I've been jotting down some of the ones because we've heard them, but I want to hear them from you because you're not crazy party people like we are. You're a nice,
No.
staid. You just came back. You still have makeup on from taking a picture for the church, alumni directory.
Church directory.
The church directory. They're fine people. Why doesn't your daughter have any of your housekeeping skills, by the way? She's the biggest slob in the world. Where does she get that
You're a
from?
naked slob.
She's a slob hoarder. All right. Okay, so, naked. There you go. When you had her out of the mental institution, you have her holed up in Tahoe.
Yes.
And got to a point where you could occasionally leave for a couple
Once
days.
in a while, I could go over and stay with Ron, and it was safe to leave. Or well, I felt like it was safe to leave
But this
her
was
alone
after a while.
This was-
Mom couldn't leave me
for about 5
alone.
months.
For about
I had to
5 whole
stay,
months.
yeah,
She was
stay
with me
with
at
her.
all times.
See,
And
I
then
would never care about anyone that much.
You don't
Because,
have-
again, to me, when I met her, still kind of batshit crazy. We'll get to that. Met her the second time. I met her initially in Portland, and then we kind of kept in vague touch over a couple years there. But it was funny to me. I thought, oh my God, when she'd spin out and she would verbigerate, which is almost like speaking in tongues, and she'd just say looped sentences that are not actual words, but she's having a complete conversation. 'Cause that's funny to me because I have that kind of humor. But you, how did you spend your days?
played a lot of games. And then when things got bad, I'd go in my room or take a walk.
was ugly.
Well, we had good times too.
Yeah, we did, but it was
But
really ugly.
it was a
for
roller
while.
coaster, and
Did you think she was going to come out of it?
I had no clue.
Ugh.
I actually thought she might live with us for the rest of our lives.
And then
Yeah.
you started looking at real estate that had a basement, a cellar with a chain. Kay, what's that sound coming from the down? Nothing. It's rats. We got a rodent problem. Don't worry. But she would sit in the window when you went away.
Well, when I came back,
Yeah.
she would be sitting in the window.
Because Mom would leave me for
And-
maybe overnight. She'd start with just overnight.
Yeah.
And you'd be
then-
sitting there like a puppy.
like a little kid, or
But I'd wait at the window like for
And she would
hours
just
for her,
be
like
there.
this, just waiting
And-
at the window for Mom to come back.
And then she would say, "I'm so glad you're home, Mom." And it would break my heart.
Oh, she broke our heart the other day. We pretended to leave her. She's in Nashville and she still won't get out of bed. And there's this vintage shop across the street that was closed for the time we were there. And our one chance to hit it is leaving town. And she'd been looking in the window. We just yelled, "All right, Bingo, we're going to that vintage shop. Have your stuff packed because we got to leave right away when we get back." And then shut the door, but then hid in the kitchen. And she's yelling, "Guys, guys, guys," and then running down the stairs to try to catch us before we left her alone. Guys!
Naked again.
But so sad, such
Guys!
sadness in her voice. That's now it's a running catchphrase. Guys! She went through a period, because even when I met her, she had these diets. Like when I first got together with her, she would only eat whole wheat tortillas
Mom will
with
remember this.
sweet, not Sweet and Low, but the other one, Splenda. She'd
Oh,
put Splenda on top
Oh,
of a
yes.
whole wheat microwave, and then tortilla, and then microwave it so it smelled like chemical fire. Like there was some dump on fire somewhere, and then she would eat this.
But that's the only thing I will eat is one thing, whatever it is just one thing.
I have one during one tour. It was Vienna sausages, which we had a case of them, and I never saw her eat one, but we always had to have them in the car.
She would
And pumpkin, right out of the can.
tell her
Mom's
about
got
the
the
pumpkin,
pumpkins,
because
too.
that was
Oh, yes.
That started when Mom was around.
When we were living over in Tahoe together.
you'd bring her out to the grocery store
Grocery store,
eventually.
and
That
she
was like her
filled
first.
That
A
was my
whole
first-
cart full of nothing but cans of pumpkin.
But Mom let me shop by myself, so I took a cart by myself and then filled it up, found the pumpkin aisle,
But I
No.
did make her take a bunch of it back.
like $100 worth back. I mean, the whole cart, the whole entire cart was filled with a can of pumpkin.
And
Raw.
then
Which the funny part is that's what you always would give to the canned food drive is the pumpkin pie filling. Like, this has been in here for 4 years. Give it to this homeless people. No one wants this. Oh, Bingo wanted all of it.
But that's the
But
only
she
thing I
ate-
ate for months.
she
Mom.
ate so much that she finally turned orange.
Yeah.
From
Had
the
a-
beta carotene.
Beta carotene, and the doctor said, "I think you better be stopping with the
Pumpkin.
pumpkin."
So I had to move on to something else. But it was always, no matter what I ate, for months and for every meal, it would be the same thing, whatever it was.
But she was
And actually, I just threw out the last of those pumpkin cans. Not too long ago, I decided to.
10 years later.
Yeah, it was like I looked at the expiration date, and it was well past it.
The best way to get her off of any weird diet like that is she'll go out and she'll buy 100 the Vienna sausages. We had like a whole shelves full, and then she decided she's not into it anymore. She just bought like 8 cases of this shit. She still does that. I'm trying to think of there's cases of in the house that you're like, never mind.
But with the juicing, you guys got the Vitamix juicer, the blender,
Yeah.
and you get all the stuff. But then she, instead of putting juice or water or coconut milk, that's something that Gay turned us on here. But she gets the green drink,
She
And
gets
the
the
green
most
drink-
expensive thing.
It's
is
more
the
expensive
already-
than gasoline. Per
And then
gallon.
Yeah, it's a kale drink, and then she just puts more kale in it. I'm like, why don't you just buy more kale for the cheap and put water in there, and it's the same thing instead of spending $4.99 a
Well, if you look on
piece.
the ingredients to those, it's apple and pear juice. You can buy that and then mix it with your own kale.
Right.
Yeah.
Or put an apple in there
Or
for a quarter.
They're picking on my daughter now.
it's cyclical.
Hang on. All right. Was your mother even around for the sloth story?
I think I heard something about it, but it wasn't.
It was after.
It was after you went to live with Doug.
No,
right?
it was before. It was when I was living with you.
Oh.
But you started leaving me alone for a couple of days at a time.
So it was where you got blood work.
It was where I had to get blood work, and they had a sign up for
Lamaze?
class, which I signed up for because I thought I was
I
pregnant.
never knew that.
She thought she was pregnant with a sloth. And she really believed it to the point where...
Well, I found this later because I couldn't remember a lot of the things that I had done. But about a year later, I went to visit Robin in Portland, and he had baby announcements, and it was mine. It was my handwriting. It was my everything. And there were
I
baby
didn't
announcements
know this.
sent out. And I was just like, oh, my God, I hope I did not send any to relatives. But I sent some to
Friends.
friends.
But which is hilarious. There was so much brilliance aside from the really scary parts. There were brilliant moments where I think you
I don't
have.
know that I would call that brilliant.
No, when you first came to the Death Valley party, you gave us this whole album where you'd written lyrics to a song all over her naked body in places with her own. She has inimitable handwriting.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And totally unique.
And so there was a song. There was a CD of the song with the lyrics written all over her body, and she
did that at at the house in Tahoe.
What would I do when you were?
And when I came home, she was totally naked, and all this beautiful writing was all over her body and all over the mirrors in the bathroom.
Yeah,
But it was very poetic and beautiful and sad.
but fascinating.
Very fascinating.
She did that when we got together in Montreal. We were first getting together, and she flew up, and I was doing the comedy festival there, and she just did the entire bathroom she had done. Which now if she did it, we're an old couple. I'd go, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to pay a security deposit on this. But then I didn't even care. I was in love.
Oh, what about
I'm not saying I'm not in love with your daughter. I'm saying I'm talking about the retarded part of being in love where nothing else in the world matters.
Right. And what about the red driveway?
Oh, yeah. When we first moved into Bisbee, she painted the driveway not just red, but glitter. She got
red.
glitter. Tell us.
Well, I think someone in Bisbee just taught me how to use the internet, so I was able to
use it.
So I was able to buy like pounds and pounds of red glitter. But it was just a manic state. It was just a manic state because I have to do something when I'm in that state.
Right.
Like
but when he left,
hot gluing all the shoes to the walls and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
All my shoes were hot glued to the wall.
I didn't hear this story.
Again,
like,
I
when
was in love. It didn't bother me.
I know. You'd be so furious.
Yeah, well, we put a lot of work into that house over the years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you glued hot shoes to the wall, you go, maybe we should talk about these things together. I don't even want to tell this story about the stolen signs, even though the statute of limitations is up.
Could I still go to jail for that?
No.
You can tell it then.
Well, you can plead insanity on any of this shit, and
Okay, then tell
you
it.
got papers. Do you know the story?
Howard
I
Stern
came home
wouldn't
off
let
the
us
road.
Tell this.
Oh, we already told it on Stern?
No, Stern
Oh.
wouldn't let us tell this one either.
Oh, yeah. We were on. I just moved to Bisbee. She had just
Right.
moved in. I was on the road. She stayed home for whatever reason. This is before we put the fence in.
Right.
And she went out on a manic spree stealing street signs.
How many street signs?
30.
30, I think it was 34.
Okay, it was.
Oh.
It was in the
34.
30s.
Oh, wow.
And was
Felony
just going
for
out,
each one.
standing on the hood of the Toyota truck
Right.
No, very
on the
top of it.
roof.
Oh, the roof.
And she'd pull up to a sign and just unscrew giant signs.
by myself.
You know how big Bisbee is. 34 signs is probably half their signs. And she put them up on every wall at the house
Covered every wall of
at
the house.
Van Dyke. And I come in like some old traveling salesman. Honey, I'm home. You know, it's like 9 o'clock at night. I just drove back from a road.
I was so excited for him to see this. I had been working on this for nonstop, for without any drug, without anything. If you're that manic, you can stay awake for days and days and have that much energy. It's superpowers.
And I come and I walk in and I just immediately freak out. I'm dropping the blinds because like the mailman comes by here every day. You can look through the front window and see every sign from Bisbee all over every wall of my house. Like, you can't do this. She was so hurt because she thought I didn't like it. It looked great. I go, that's not the point, honey. It's probably a huge felony. So then how she had the strength to actually some of
We
these
will never
signs
know.
not only
They
take
were
them down,
enormous.
but
Did
then
you
put
have
them.
tools?
I had tools. I had a makeshift tool belt that
And
I
how
made
big
out of
how big was the biggest sign?
enormous.
The biggest one didn't fit in the back
of the pickup.
of the pickup truck.
And I got it not only down, but I put it up on the wall by myself. And it took 3 people to get it off.
Oh,
two,
my Lord.
two people. It was me and you because we did
Oh,
it
it was
that
just
night.
us.
I started tearing the shit down and we threw it all in the back of the pickup truck.
My heart was so crushed.
Oh.
And I go, I have to get rid of this under the cover of darkness. So about
Right.
4 a.m, I went to one of those border roads down by the airport where it's a road that, like a frontage road for the border patrol. And I, knowing that they'd find it there,
Oh,
and
and
I
you
just
just
dumped
dumped
them all out of the back of the truck.
Oh.
Like, what are we gonna do? That's a huge felony. So, yeah, but they looked good. They looked real good.
Did you
And they
take
were-
pictures?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I took pictures of the entire house because it was fantastic. But you could go to jail for the G's. And she was just hurt that I thought it was never entered her mind it might be illegal.
No, it never. Yeah. What's the animal shelter road called?
Tovriaville Road.
See, that's a big long sign.
That's a big word.
That's a big long sign.
I take it that was one of them you
The
got.
Bisbee Airport sign, mile markers, stop signs. I'm going, honey, you don't take a stop sign because people crash into each other, honey. She goes, you don't like it? It's not the point. I don't like it. You can't just take. It's like turning all the lights green. I like green, but honey, this is bad for. Oh.
I was not well.
I don't know if you're well still. You're just different, crazy. Yeah. All right. Hang on. This, that, the other thing. So how long were you the caretaker from between
About 7 months.
Yeah.
7 to
and then
9
I moved
months.
in with you, Stanhope.
And then, yeah.
That was I was let out for about 7 months, and then I moved straight in with you.
Yeah, you moved in with me pretty quick. Was there a point because you let her go?
To the
She
desert.
emailed me. We had kept in contact over the years, vaguely. Occasionally, it was always her. Hey, just checking in. I haven't talked. I've moved to New Orleans. I'm learning how to play saxophone. Da da da. Hope you're good.
Mhm.
And then one was, yeah, I'm living in Wyoming and I'm doing this and that. And then the third one, right before one of our legendary desert parties in Death Valley, She emailed, "Hey, I'm coming to see you in Hawaii. By the way, I've been locked up against my own will. I was 5150 to spent the last few months in a mental hospital in Wyoming, and I've been staying in Tahoe, and I haven't spoken to anyone." Well, however it went. And I said,
No, you said, quote, "Your doctors would advise against this, but come to my desert party."
yeah, my show in
End
Hawaii got
quote.
canceled, but we're having a desert party just down the road from you. If you're in Tahoe, your doctors would advise against it. There will be a lot of hallucinogens and other hijinks, etc.
I don't think she told me that,
No, I probably didn't.
but
say
I
that
pretty much guessed that that's what would be there.
And this is the first time she had gone out to socialize on any level.
Well, this is the first time I had driven outside of going to a
Just grocery
supermarket.
store. Yeah.
So for Mom to let me go was
And just down the street is
Insane.
like 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Down to.
no, it
yeah.
wasn't here. This is somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I'm saying from Tahoe to the Death Valley. She's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh
let you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're not just when I say right down the street, like I said in
Yeah.
the email. It's right down the state, 6 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty frightening, but it was something she wanted to do, and she was 27.
There had to be a little bit of you that like, you know what? Maybe bears are leader.
No.
I don't know.
I
about
just was hoping she'd be
Maybe she'll
okay.
join a cult, and then I can sleep. I just need to sleep. This is the second time I've taken care of a baby for a year, and it's
Oh, it
the
was
same
very
woman.
Much like that though.
Yeah, and she showed up at the Death Valley party. I remember we were all sitting out on the porch,
But I was refrigerating back then. I was.
but
being,
you were
I was,
shaved headed, bald,
and
with those
crazy,
Lisa
and-
Loeb glasses, and I'm like, who's the bald chick? Because people don't show up to that place randomly. But I had no idea who it was.
Oh,
'cause
even though you had invited her,
I didn't know that she was a bald
Bald.
woman.
Yeah.
I
He
knew she's
didn't
crazy.
think- and he didn't think I would come.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to show up.
No.
Oh, so you really hadn't told him that you were coming for sure?
No.
No.
Oh,
So
see,
we're
I
all
didn't know
sit-
that.
Yeah, we're all sitting around. This probably that year was a banner year, so it was probably 80 people there. And then some random weird bald girl shows up. And then you walked in and then walked out. So I thought maybe she's stopping for, to get directions and finds out it's closed for a private party. So
Well,
then
we hadn't seen each other since we had met, which had been how many years?
it had been
a ton of
probably
years.
5 years or so.
Oh, more than that, probably.
Yeah, roughly. This is
But-
05.
So I didn't know what he looked like again, but I just kept casing the joint, and then I finally heard his voice to where I knew he was sitting over here. He was eating
Right.
at the time, and I didn't have the courage to go up and talk to you, so I just went back to the truck. I spent a lot of time just sitting in the truck.
Yeah, it was
And then-
hours between when I saw you
Yeah.
come in and then when you finally came up.
And then I finally went up, and you came down the stairs of the side house, and you just said, "Hi, my name's Doug Stanhope," and I was like, "My name's Amy Bingaman," and then you freaked out, and I freaked out, and it was
Yeah, and then as I said, her doctor would advise against it. Someone gave her mushrooms, probably me. They were going around, and then she went into like, "Oh, you don't seem crazy at all." Oh shit, we shouldn't have given her mushrooms, because she stood in this little circular driveway. All that's at this place is a 15-room motel with a bar
I've
and
been
restaurant.
by it.
Oh, cool. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's where Doug had his desert
Yeah.
parties.
yeah, and she's standing in that looped driveway, just verbigerating, talking to the moon, and shuffling and fidgeting, and her eyes are not anywhere
yeah.
on this planet.
Yeah.
So people would take turns like holding on to her
right.
for support. She just wanted to hold on to someone, and she was happy and she's laughing, but the words that she's saying are not real words. And like I remember Hail Satan, he
Yeah, he
spent
got it
almost
for a
an
while.
hour out there, and then someone else took over, and then you could hear a couple of the creepers going, "Oh, that cute girl, like, oh, I think she likes me." Kind of, we could take full advantage of this situation. I'm like, all right, we got to bring her in, keep her away from the wolves. So we brought her to our room and she was safe there. And then a couple months later,
I moved down.
yeah, she's
Into
living in
your
Bisbee, and your mom was going, I don't care if he's a serial killer. She's out of my goddamn house. I don't care what that guy does for a living.
That was hard to see her leave, too.
You must have. What did you think? I mean, this is all pretty crazy.
I don't know. By that time, I just took one day at a time.
All right.
A lot of people thought I had lost my shit at that point because I just left L.A. and moved to some random weird town, and then all of a sudden I split up with my wife, and now I have a bald, crazy girl living on the border, and like
people came to check up. They flew in to check up on you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Under the auspice of we're going to visit you just to see like has he gone Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now on us or what's going on? But there was some crazy days, people. Crazy days. The sun's dropping on this podcast. Any other stories you got, Ma?
Oh, I can't think.
Aren't you glad I didn't ply you for information on how you and Ron spice up your love life?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you didn't bring that up.
I brought it up at too many shows live. I always love embarrassing you. I always love visiting here. I have a Diet Pepsi can from the last time I was here about 14 months ago with Junior Stopka. Mm-hmm. And this is the can I used as an ashtray. And every time I've seen you when you're down at the house or wherever you go, your cigarette can is still waiting for you in the flower pot. And here it is.
Faded.
Sun-beaten.
Well, every time I pass it, I think of you guys. We had a great time when you were here.
I did.
My mother had a great time with
I
you.
had a great time with your mother. The viciously born-again Christian lady.
She really got to go.
We had a blast. I wish she was here now. I'd have her on the podcast talking about how she did her own plastic surgery when she's got good stories.
She does.
I'm always one cocktail away from saying the wrong thing that I was not supposed to talk about in front of the other person, and you go, no, it'd be funny. This is always that one cocktail, and I hit that cocktail, but she was funny. And
yeah, she was.
Break up any families. What are we going to play tonight? We can't have this night end without playing at least one card game.
No, Boggle? I don't know. Boggle?
I love Boggle.
Is that you?
Yeah,
Boggle?
Sure. Yeah.
Or
Boggle
Bananagram?
I think I never figured out Bananagram. I think that's the one I hate. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll save this for after talk. Hey, you get to name our sponsor.
Something you like, Ma.
Yeah, we're sponsored by, and just something you would like to promote, or a product you enjoy, or a place you've been. Because we're not sponsored by anyone, so we just tell them we're sponsored by shit that we like Plastic Jug Vodka.
Okay.
But when you're the guest, you get to pick our sponsor.
Coconut milk.
Coconut milk. Not even a specific brand. Just get out there and enjoy coconut milk. It keeps Ma regular. She's got the not the brand name Squatty Potty, because that's stupid.
No,
but
Ma does
they
have
sell
Squatty
that
Potty.
thing that you use to keep your knees above your
When you poop, Ma.
when you poop. The poop box. You
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Where you put your legs up on something so your knees.
you're
are-
squatting when you
stool.
poop?
No, I
Yeah.
don't put my feet on a stool.
It's a Squatty
Right.
Potty.
I know. Now they sell that. That's a common thing
Oh, I
on
didn't know
podcasts
that.
and internet radio
House
called the
is
Squatty Potty.
for a
Because it's
while.
more natural.
Exactly. And that's what but they sell this where you go, I could get 2 phone books. How do you have a product?
I just buy a little stool.
Yeah, you know what? You should have got a good name.
I
And
could
then-
have made a lot of money.
Yeah, patented it. Yeah, Squatty Potty. And just for the listeners who aren't at all my Sacramento shows, Ron, your husband, lives on this beautiful compound here on the hills in Grass Valley because it has hydroelectric running through the place. And that's his hobby, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So you make your own power, and if you have extra, you sell it back. He called us once and he said, I need a good name for my hydroelectric company now that we moved into the new house. Yeah, as a business, think up a good name. And I go, well, your wife's name is Gay. Call it Gay Power. And put a big sign out front of your house, Gay Power. If you really loved your wife.
Guess what?
Assuming he'd do it.
He didn't do
I
it.
thought he would go, that's brilliant. I'm going to do that. So one day I'm going to take him by the hand down to City Hall or wherever you go, and we're going to incorporate Gay Power, and I'm going to buy the giant sign for your house, Gay Power. Thank you, Gay.
You're welcome,
Thank you,
Doug.
Bingo. Thank you, Ggreg Chaille. Let's go play Boggle.
Play the Mattoid.
Oh, yeah, Mom, say, oh, wait, you forgot to play the Mattoid.
Oh, wait. You forgot to play the Mattoid.
Play the Mattoid!
Party time. Party time. Party time. Party time. Drink your drinks and eat your eats. It's party time. Laugh your laughs and eat your eats. It's party time. Smile your smiles and blue your blues. It's party time. Dance your dance and shoe your shoes. It's party time. Howl your howls and suck your socks. It's party time. Yeah. Oh baby, grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. Grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. Everybody, grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. One more. Grab your craps and fuck your fox. It's party time. Here we go. Party time. Yeah. Party time. Party time. Yeah. Party time. 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 Hey.